Okay. First of all, hi, fanboy, and as well, how do you do a proper exegesis when you're studying the Bible, and how do you avoid doing exegesis?
All right, is those two questions in one, or is that like just part of the
It's
same?
both part of the same thing. So, how do you
Okay.
do exegesis while avoiding exegesis? Or
I th
exegesis?
right,
Oh.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Um, so how you want to do exegesis is to examine the text and use proper hermeneutics. There's a book I have where I was trying to learn some of this, and it was a good introduction. I would recommend anyone who was looking into it. It's called Introduction to Biblical Hermeneutics by Walter Kaiser and Moises Sliva or Silva. I forget which of it pronounced because I know he's got a weird name.
David
But
Silva.
basically, the best one approach is the historical grammatical method of hermeneutics, and that is that we examine the biblical text in light of its grammatical and literary context as well as the historical context. So, in order to commit exegesis, we must look at the entire text as a paragraph or its surrounding texts around it, who it's being addressed to, what's the historical context behind that, and that culture, as well as to understand the original languages. I think those can play a big role, and that helps us with exegesis, whereas eisegesis is interpreting our own feelings into the text and having an agenda drive to it. That's why you have Joey Micah, for example, who tries to read El Shaddai and says, it means big-breasted one, even though that's really not what it means. And it's a misunderstanding of a certain Hebrew root of the word. And therefore, God is a goddess who has big titties. Sorry for the word usage there, but that's ultimately what she's saying and teaching, is that God's got big breasts because and God's a goddess because of that one title. Again, that'd be a classic example of eisegesis, is to utilize those texts for that. And then, of course, Black Hebrew Israelites, the whole, nationalism and trying to view themselves as superior and think that their whole thing is connected there, and the struggles, and they try to make those connections into texts, very desperately. So that's the main thing, is that it's agenda driven. They start with presuppositions and try to get those presuppositions into the text, as well as to try to insert their own culture into it and try to read it as it wasn't an ancient person, but as if the Bible was written in the 18th or 19th century, depending on the people you want to go at concerning their approach at this, especially if we're dealing with cults and how they commit the eisegesis of the text.
Okay. Sounds like something I've already been. Sounds like something that I've been doing. Not the eisegesis, but the exegesis.
But to say, if you were committing eisegesis, me and Abe would have to come over and give you an interrogation. Good. It'd be a good cop, bad dog.